Hi guys, I'm Wing. I'm the host for The Mind of a CEO. So today we have a very special guest, Melly from Mo. Melly Ling, the co-founder and CEO of Mo, is a successful tech entrepreneur from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. She has played a key role in the growth of Mo, a digital business card platform. Her career in tech started when she worked at Swingvy, a Korean HR tech startup, where she helped the company raise funds in its early stages. With over 10 years of experience in digital marketing, writing, design, and branding, Melly has a lot of expertise that has contributed to a success in the startup world. Alright, hey Melly, so you told me before that you received like a 5 figures kind of offer in Singapore.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but why don't you accept it and you choose to build a startup, which is, as we know, startup is tough and super duper risky. Why 5 figures? Come on.
Well, the true story about that is, so I was about to move to Singapore for that job. I prepared everything. However, COVID hits, and then my employer at the time, he told me that he had to retrench the staff, and that includes me as well. So fortunately, that didn't get through at all. Yeah, but after that, I did receive another offer, also another Singapore startup company, quite a big company. They were looking for a regional marketing for APAC. Went through 2 calls, one almost signed a deal, but I pulled it out because I was just going through a really big life happens, personal challenges, and also my dad fell sick, and I just had to choose my father and my family at a time, and also my mental health, because I was not in the best state of mind, and I needed to have time for myself so that if I take care of my mental health, I can serve my family. So I chose that rather than to work.
I think you open up a good topic over here, right? So a lot of us, we so often that if we have great offer in jobs, right? Then for sure we are going to get it no matter what, regardless of the families, our mental health. We will not think of that in the very first place, right? So, do you have like a very close relationship with your families that makes you family always come first?
Of course, I do. I'm so blessed and I'm so thankful to God that I have one of the best relationships I could ever ask for. My dad, my sister, my brother, my mom, we're all very close. We grew up very close. Our relationship is not like a typical Asian Chinese family. We talk about everything. We share about everything. Whenever we're down, we talk it out. And I think my both parents, they created a safe space for me. So because I grew up in that environment, I feel like I have to always, like, I don't know, I just feel like, very close to home when I see them.
So when you rejected that offer, what did your parents say? Anything specific? Like,
oh, of course. My dad was like, are you sure you want to reject that offer? Because that was before I actually replied to the HR. So I spoke to my dad about it. I'm very open to talk about anything with my dad. And he said like, yeah, just because like he was sick at the time, he said that I should not make any rashful decisions. And I said, I think I made the right decision, and I really want to choose family, because I think I can get work anywhere, anytime. But at the time, I really want to choose my father because he has cancer. And also at the time, like, the thing about when the doctor told me that my dad only had like 3 to 6 months to live, I don't want to work. I just want to spend all that time with my dad, because that's like the only time where, I just have that much time with him. But he's well. He's okay right now.
He's okay now.
Yeah, Yes.
So you give up the offer in Singapore and then you started more.
Yes.
So
And yeah, I would say yeah.
So, but I mean, what
Yeah.
inspired you to start more in the first place? You know,
Because I was crying a lot.
you cry a lot and then start more.
Yes.
How?
So I, like I mentioned, when I found out that my dad has cancer, and my whole family didn't take the news lightly, and I knew at the time, like, I had to be the strongest person in the family, because I'm the eldest of the family, and it really hurts to see how, like, my happy family, my very positive family, my positive father, he became like the most negative person I've ever seen. I've never seen him like that in my entire life. After when he found out that he's got cancer. And he's just like, I don't want to, I mean, he didn't say he didn't want to leave, but the actions that he showed, and even like after the doctor told him, like, okay, you have this amount of months left to live. And I'm just like, how could you say that? As a, like, you're not God. And just because, like, you guys have like all the statistics based on like all your previous patients who got cancer, you cannot just rule it out like that. I think at that time, like, if you're a doctor, you should really encourage them to keep that fighting spirit, right? My father didn't have a fighting spirit, and I just decided that I need to be that positive light for my family. So I started to just keep on, like, just keep on going, keep on bringing joy in the family. It's as simple as like cooking for them, doing chores at home, spending time. Even though it was so difficult, as I say, this is like so easy, right? But it was really hard because the mood is so low and down. Everyone's down, but I just keep on, showing like all this positive energy until I get really tired. I get so burnt out. So every night, like after when everyone goes to sleep, when it's my turn to go to sleep, I would like pray before I sleep. And that's where I would cry. So I've been crying, I think, for about 3 months, almost every day, but I couldn't show my family that I was crying. So if they listen to this podcast right now, I think that's where they would discover, I guess, hey dad.
So where do you get the idea of Mo from?
So everything started from my father, right? So I never planned more. It's just like it just happened. Because it happened like I was crying a lot. I couldn't find motivation to want to work. I just felt like I couldn't do anything besides like cooking, baking, cleaning. That really keeps me like going. Going to the hospital. So it was going to the hospital so often. That's actually how like Mo came into the picture. So one day, it was one of the doctor's visits, and that was right after my father's operation where he removed the tumor, right? And the doctor was a new doctor, so I've never seen this doctor before. And my father had a very bad bleeding at the time, but because of COVID, they didn't have enough hospital beds, so they told my dad to go back home. But I was like, hey, I need to know, like, what is the care instructions to take care of my father, because he's bleeding and he's constantly bleeding, and I have to treat his wound, his bloody wound, because none of my family members can do that because they're so terrified. They can't, they just can't do it. So I decided to do it, even though I have a huge phobia of blood. But because I love him so much, I would go to the extent, like, you know what, even though I'm so scared of blood and it's so grotesque looking at his scar, I'll just do it, right? But I need an instruction. So I talked to the doctor, and the doctor's like, okay, this is how you do it, blah, blah, blah. Then I asked him, can I get your phone number? Just in case if like I couldn't get, I have to call the hotline, right? And government hospital hotline, it takes forever. So he hesitated a bit, but after, I convinced him, he said, okay, let me get you my phone number. So he did this this action that really like made me so frustrated. Even thinking about it until today, I'm just like, oh, why government never provide like business cards for them? It's COVID, right? You have MySejahtera QR code. You could have like bare minimum give a QR code for doctors to have easy way to contact them, you know, for the caretakers. So he wrote his phone number on a piece of paper and he passed it to me. And I'm like, no, I don't want to touch it. Ew. So much like bacteria. Like my dad's high risk. I could also get like COVID from you. But because I was desperate, I just took the paper back. Also, I sanitized it. I remember the piece of paper was like very smudgy with all the ink, right? Then came home. At night is basically my time where I get to chill and just read and then pray. And I don't know why that night when I came, like I was at that day, that night, I kept on thinking about that event that happened. I was so frustrated. I was like, oh, I need to do something. Then at the time, my previous co-founder, I reached out to him and I was telling him, he knew about my dad. So we were like, I really want to do something about this. Why not we just build like a very simple digital card and give it to the doctors? So that was the first time where I actually got out of my my emotional low shell. I started to do something again. So that kind of ignited a spark that I thought I died, you know, from whatever that I'm going through.
So do you do any like market research or product research before you go into this? Or?
I did the market research about, I mean, digital card is nothing new. It's always been around.
Yes.
And I am a big fan of One Good Card, but that was in Singapore. And I was just wondering, like, why they didn't have it here in Malaysia? How come Singapore always gets like the best stuff? And I think it's time, like, Malaysia should have something really cool and something that is also accessible. So we did like a research. I think we spent about like 48 hours just going through like all of the digital cards, brands. There were a few local players here, but their kind of solution was not very accessible because they want you to buy the card. But ours was more like we want to create like a software where everyone can use the card for free.
So just like you told me that, I mean, when you come to, right, you told me that you guys have pivots a lot of times, right?
Yeah.
So can you share with us a bit more, you know, what is initially more the problem that Mo want to solve, and then what kind of things that you guys are doing now?
Okay. Well, initially when we created Mo, it was actually to help the doctors to enable them to share their contact quickly, right, to the patients and the caretakers. So it started from there. And then after that, we started to expand our software, our simple digital card software, because at the time we were also very inspired by a lot of full stack full stack developer turned entrepreneur on Twitter. So at the time, there was Copy AI co-founder. His name is Chris Liu. He was building his product live, and I was so moved by him and another Singaporean bootstrap entrepreneur. His name is John Yongfu. John Yongfu, and he's the founder of Banner Bear, where he builds like API integrations. And they were so openly sharing about their process of building in life with all of their followers. And I so happened to, I got nothing to do, right? So I just spent a lot of time on Twitter just reading this because I love to just be on Twitter to read stuff. And I came across their posting and I realized that it was so interesting. And what was really interesting is to see how fast they actually ask a problem and they get their followers respond to their problem, and the next 48 hours they started building a prototype, and that was how like Copy AI
based on the answer that the followers give in
Yes,
the comment.
yes. And I was one of them. So they literally like go through like every single like reply. They take all this reply as a starting point for them to build their MVP. So for Copy AI and even like John Yongfook's startup Banner Bar, they're incredible. They're just like one man show, like building the product, also have to do onboarding and also have to sell, right? And their selling is typically within like their Twitter platform. After they ship their first MVP, and then the rest is history. So for Copy AI, their followers who started off as like complaining about, oh, X problem, Y problem, Z problem. Today, they have enabled them to become like a $20-30 million company. And all of that happened in less than 1 year during pandemic. So I followed very closely on their journey. So that really inspired Mo. And I was also really like, free after midnight. I couldn't sleep and I'm a builder myself. So I picked out UI UX design. I love designing and I like to draw. So I was just like, okay, I want to try to design the platform for Mo. And what's the best way to, and at that time, my ex-co-founder, he wants to build features, right? But how do we know what kind of features are useful that actually serve to solve like a painful problem? Because we don't want to just look at all those existing softwares out there and just copy them. It does not make sense. And I'm very impatient. I want something that can really solve a problem. Like two taps is like maximum for me. At least like one click or one tap, it solves a problem. So we focus on that user experience. And and at the time, TikTok was everybody was on TikTok. Everybody was sharing their struggles. You also see a lot of like tips on how to build a startup. So we just tried to like post about why we're building Mo, why we're building this simple digital card. And we started asking questions on TikTok like, hey, would you guys use this for free? Do you guys think like digital card should be free? And we want to give this to you for free, but you just have to let me know like what's your problem. So we started making a lot of videos on TikTok. And little did we know, we started to have fans. And these fans are now also our customers, or they're our early adopters. And one of them also happens to be a CTO of a really big, I cannot say the brand name, right? They are like a fast food outlet. Yeah. I can just say that they're really big, and the CTO, he became our fan, and he invited us to his office at the time, like when we were bootstrapping, and he started sharing like all his feedbacks and all. So his feedbacks actually gave us a lot of validation for us to move to the next step, which is to turn this into a real business. So we spent 1 year just building in life of our product with our followers on TikTok, and also all the users that sign up with us, and just trying to find like what's the sweet spot for people to use as not just a digital card. We also built a no-code website builder because we saw like a lot of them are also complaining about they spend too much time on Wix or Squarespace, or even like what's another Webflow. It's too complicated for them to get their website out. They just want a website to quickly push out whatever like sales services that they're providing, product catalog that want to push. Yeah, so Linktree works really well at the time, but Linktree has very limited content display. You can't really do much on Linktree. So we hear all these feedbacks. We combine like Linktree. We combined the need for a website design. And then we also have a digital card, because a digital card is where you meet that person for the first time. You want to make your first impression. And for me, like fun fact, I'm an introvert. So for me, I don't like to talk too much when I meet a person. But with you, I feel very comfortable. So that's why I can like talk to you right now. Otherwise, if you meet me for the first time, I'll just get really awkward and smile, and that's it. But the card is actually a reflection of my introversion. So I already spent a lot of time to like design the card and make sure that the software gives a wow factor to that person so that they remember you, and not just remember you just because it's like, oh, you have a pretty face, you have a nice decorated profile, but most importantly, they get to also navigate to learn about you. So Mole, it has that no code website builder where you can add in like features, like your product catalog, in just like 4 seconds.
So it's like Linktree plus maybe like WordPress kind of thing. You can build your own website and then
yes, yeah.
So can you share a bit any like case where most solutions significantly disrupt like B2B clients industry, or any case studies that your customers use it to get more leads, or testimonials?
Disrupt. I wouldn't say we have disrupted the market, because in this time, people are still using paper business card, right? And that's something that we see that it will never change. But there are also people that are adopting a digital card solution, but they still also keep a paper business card. So I think right now, for one of our successful case study in the event, because we're not trying to change people, right? We're trying to move them to realize that the difference between having a paper card versus like a digital card is, number one, if you switch to a digital card, you are choosing to become sustainable, right? You're choosing to be responsible for the way how you consume business cards. Number two, with a business card, it gets to it empowers you in your networking to become more productive, right? Because the software we built, we have integrations with analytics. And analytics are so important. It basically helps to inform you, to tell you what kind of decisions that you should make in terms of following up with the person that you network with, and how you should plan on to, to prepare for your sales kit and for your next meeting. And that itself also helps out with marketing, because we also have like we integrate with Facebook. So what happens is, like, the card, it enables people to redirect all these people that they met when they are being tapped with a mole card. They will get followed by whatever ads that they are running on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on YouTube.
Is it like look-alike audience kind of things, or no?
No, it's not a look-alike. Because
exactly targeting that particular person's.
Yeah. So you know how Facebook Pixel works, right?
Yes.
So Facebook Pixel, when you put it on your website, anyone who visits your website, they would get followed by the ads, right? So it's the same thing like Mole. Yeah, the moment when they come onto they open your Mole card, as long as they open your Mole card, they will get bombarded by all of your ads. Just like how you see on like Zalora, on Shopee, you just have to like go onto Shopee and
once, and then
just go one time, and then the next time when you're on whatever website you're serving, you're browsing, or even on like your Instagram, you start to see like Shopee ads following you like it's no tomorrow. Yeah, so that's how we always tell our customers, our users, that Mole is beyond a card. We also help you to optimize your marketing.
So it's like a marketing tool at the same time.
Yes, it's also a marketing tool.
So
one of the to answer a case study, one of the case study that we saw that helped us to move this needle was a financial planner. He's also an insurance agent. So he was selling about more than 10 insurance products. And for him, he needs bookings. So bookings is his MQL, his marketing quality leads, is basically to get as many meeting bookings. But his challenge was he's using too many apps to manage like his bookings. His promotions are done like on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on another like forum, and he wants to consolidate all of that. And he was also running like ads, but he realized like everything was so disconnected. There was no strategy, and he was suffering from creating content because content creation is not his strongest suit, right? So, but he's a one-man show. He doesn't want to hire a designer because it's not that he cannot afford, it's just he don't have time to manage the designer. So he used everything on Canva, and he still can get all this content out. But when he heard about Mo, and that's where like he makes it really easy for him to get a website out, to put all of his content in one place and his Facebook pixel. And then the next few weeks, he saw that like people actually find it really easy. Like the clients that he met, new clients that he met, they actually came to book his timing easily because of Mo. He just add in a Mo link onto his WhatsApp page. Yeah, and he'll just share the Mo link onto whoever he met on WhatsApp.
So instead of sharing like different platforms to the clients, all this insurance agent do is just send one Mo link and then done.
That's it. Yeah, and you can check it in your Google Analytics to see like which path that they come from. Yeah.
So like talks about networking events, right? Is networking events are overrated and no longer able to generate any real business leads or opportunities, or people just go to the events or the networking sessions just for the sake of taking photos and then post on social media. I have met this guy and I've joined this event, but it actually does not produce any practical sales or benefits to the business, short and long term.
No to the first question. Yes to the second question. People do enjoy taking pictures at events, especially like all the speakers who happens to be like they're fans of the speakers, right? I mean, I'm your fan. When I first met you in Vietnam. Yeah, because you were also a part of the Antler program.
Yes.
Like, I knew about you because I've seen one of your videos on TikTok, and you're like a digital marketing guru. So we took a photo, and there was like there was a networking session that Antler did, right? Yeah, so it's natural, right? So yes to that question. Are networking events overrated? No, they're not. Networking events are still the best place for you to promote your business, and that will eventually lead to, sales.
Is there any practical tips that you use during a networking session to get more leads or sales? Because you are an introvert, right? So it's very hard for you to talk to people. You might just stand behind a tiang, or just hide, So how do you approach people that you don't know, friends you know?
Most networking events that I attended, they're always like speaking events. I've never come across an event that literally says like a networking event, right? So typically the format is very straightforward. Registration.
Yeah.
And then go get a seat in the space, and then the panel session will start, right? So I would always sit right at the back. Or I try to come like 5 minutes before the showtime, because it's just
so then no one can
my
talk to
coping
you.
mechanism. Yeah, because I still want to go there with the objective to learn from these speakers. And second, try to meet I set my minimum KPI 3%. So I tell myself like, Melly, I know you're like super anxious, awkward turtle, but you're here. You need to improve yourself, learn from these thought leaders. And the third one is walk out from this room with 3 contacts. you need
3 new contacts.
3 new contacts. Yes. So that is always that dialogue that I have before I go to any event. And right after the talk ends, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I already have that dialogue, right? Nope, I would go to the pantry. So I go to the pantry, act busy with my food. But actually, when I'm at the pantry by myself with the food, like, I knew nobody would come out to me. But that's actually my time, my strategy for me to study the room. So I would study everybody and I would look at first, like, how loud they are. So I would avoid the loudest people in the room.
Why?
Because their energy is too high for me. And being an introvert for me, my energy is always quite low. So I get very tired. And I just don't feel comfortable when I'm next to someone with a high energy. And then I always observe that, like, for me, so 3-person, that's my KPI, right? I will pick the quiet ones in the room. So I will make my way to introduce myself to the quiet ones. And I noticed that usually the quiet ones are the ones that always bring, like, the best collaboration, the best partnership that eventually turn into sales, because it has always worked for me. And we both understand each other. And all these people I've met, like, really great people, they're like either C-levels or they're like entrepreneurs, they're bosses. And we have right now, like, Mo have already, like, worked with almost all of them when it comes to, like, we also organize our own networking event, and we have been doing it together with these people. Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about challenges as a female founders, right? Yeah. So what is the biggest challenges that you have faced so far? And also, how did you overcome it?
Well, as a female founder, especially when you're working in a male-dominated industry, tech is still predominantly very male-centric. I think one of the challenges that I faced is still trying to get the VCs to. I mean, maybe I'm not being biased, but it's just an observation. The tech industry, VCs who invested in tech companies, most of the VCs that I've met are generally men. And I come to observe a similar pattern when I'm being interviewed by them. So we talk about, like, okay, I will pitch about Mo, what kind of problem we're solving, what kind of solution, how does the solution add value, and blah blah blah, right? Then after that, when you move on to the, like, getting to know me and getting to know the VCs, right? They would always ask me this question, like, who's your CTO? Almost all of them ask me that question, but I don't get that from a female VC. Female VC, they would always ask me, like, Melly, how has the journey been so far building your startup? And they would always say, I know it's not easy, especially being a female. When I hear that from a female VC, I feel like, oh, I've been hurt. They understand my journey. It's not easy. And that makes me feel like I have that support, right? And I really want to be supported by this VC, for example, right? But for the man VCs that I've met, not to say every man VC, right? Eric Johnson is not like that. Eric Johnson, he's like one of the best, and the most, like, he respects women and he believes in women, and he's different, right? And I'm so thankful that I have him as my coach and also an investor to Mo. But I would say, like, the ones that I encountered there, they always like to ask that question, like, who's your CTO? And I have a gut feeling that they want to know the
Is it
gender.
men or guy?
But they don't
girl?
dare to say. Yeah, they will always ask me, who's your CTO? Yes, early this year, my former co-founder left the company. So I was co-founderless and I didn't have a CTO. So I had to play that CTO hat as well and to manage my engineers. So at the time I was also pitching, right? Meeting up with VCs. So I said, my answer to them was, I don't have a CTO.
Huh.
Yeah.
At that point of time.
At that point in time, I don't have a CTO. In fact, they're looking at her as an interim. Yeah. And then they just nodded their head and they went silent. And after that, they're like, okay, all right, great. It's nice chatting with you, Mel. Let's catch up again. Which I know they wouldn't. Most of them. Until a miracle happened when I was looking for a CTO and also a co-founder. It took me 6 painful months of waiting and trying to play the head of a CTO. And I was talking a chicken language, whereas my engineers were talking a duck language because they're engineers. And I realized I really cannot communicate with them because my expectations are so different with my engineers. And at that time, I knew Melly, you really need a CTO that can really drive your vision. It's so hard because sometimes I can be very philosophical because I'm an artist, I'm a designer. So for designer, the way we think is very different. But for engineers, they're very technical. You have to talk logic, A language to them. But for me, I'm like, nah. I can't. I tried. I can't. After reading so many books, it doesn't work. It didn't work. And I met a CTO who's also an entrepreneur, a tech entrepreneur. He runs several tech businesses, and he runs AI. He builds robotics, and also fun fact, he builds the first Southeast Asia self-autonomous driving car. And I was honored to be invited to this International Women's Day event that was organized by his company. So that's where I met this brilliant gentleman in March. But at the time, I was just, I was just invited as a speaker. So my objective is just go there, share what I know, and empower people, the students there, that's it. Never really thought about seeing him as a co-founder. Many months down the road, we connected because he developed a deep tech tool where it basically detects motions. People, when you walk, that device can literally detect you and count you. So it's basically tracking your motions and turning them into analytics. So I was so intrigued by that device that he created. So I remembered we just talk for 1 hour, became 2 hours, became 3 hours, and then several meetings later, I was just so caught. I was so into this device because I really believe this device can be a game changer, especially with what Mole is where Mole is going. Because we were working with a lot of event organizers and we working closely with event organizers. We know their pain, and their pain is always trying to how do they prove ROI to their exhibitors so that in the upcoming future events, they will come back and exhibit together with them again. But it's really hard to prove that, right? Because a lot of their reports, the data that they get are all very messy. very manual. Most of the time when they run events, they don't have time to be, like tracking all of this, and like in-person footfall, how many people come, what are people doing at your event, during event. They're always running from one corner to another corner, ensuring F&B is covered, entertainment is covered, guest checks in seamlessly, all of this, right? So when I saw this device, that at first hand, I knew that it's exactly what Mo needs, especially with our software and how we can combine these two. So after a few chats, bribing my co-founder with coffee, because I'm too poor. Yeah. Startup life, it's really hard. You know how it is, startup, where we can afford like Starbucks.
Too expensive.
Too expensive, right?
Luxury for us.
Yeah. But you just got to make it work, right? So I made it work. I still save out my money and get him a very nice cup of coffee, bring him to my office, ask him to go yum cha. Took a while to convince him. He even came to find me in Saigon at Tech in Asia. Yeah. But at the time I wasn't really like, I didn't have motive to get him as a co-founder yet. But it was in the works lah. Yeah, we wanted to work together, to collaborate together. Fast forward since 2 months ago, after launching my MVP in Vietnam. Today, I've got a co-founder, and it's that guy. Yeah, and it's been it's been a roller coaster, really, because this is the best pivot that we have. We've already found our product market fit, I would say.
So I mean, it seems like a female founder has more struggle than a male.
Yeah.
So I mean, what is
For
the
sure,
point?
we have periods every month.
Yeah, and guys will have
painful. Yeah.
So what sort of point of views that you have to give to those females entrepreneurs or want to be entrepreneurs, that struggling to get their startup off the ground, sort of based on your experience of running businesses, right? So what sort of I would say advice, but based on your own point of view, what sort of things that you will suggest to them?
Female founders, aspiring female founders. I know how women think. We are usually we're very thorough. When we want to build a business, we will always have a lot of research. We would also have mood boards and everything. And we would also do a lot of comparison, whether is it safe to tap into the whatever market that you want to tap. But my advice, because us being women, we're always we always like to prepare everything in advance. My advice to you is just do it. Right? Don't let all this just don't be overly prepared. Because the more you prepare, you have all this business proposals or talking to different people. But if it just stays in your proposal, it will never go anywhere. So if you want to get into entrepreneurship, it doesn't take a lot of money. Even 10 ringgit, you can start something. So just build a website. Use Mo. We're free.
So does age a hurdle or a challenge, especially of female in the start business? Is it like, I'm at my age of 30, it's the time to get married, is that,
Nice question. I don't know. I'm still figuring out myself. But I really hate whenever people say that age always deters, especially female, right, from starting a business, because when you're married and when you have kids, it's not a great idea to start business because you need time for your children and all. That's not true. I've seen some stay-at-home moms who became entrepreneurs from their house, and they're doing really well. I attended a talk by AppWorks, and I met this strong mom entrepreneur. She's about 48. She raised, I think, about, I can't remember, maybe 10 million US dollar or 20 million US dollar just raised. And she's got a child. She takes care of 400 employees.
400.
Yeah. And she shared with everybody that day that she's not the brightest. She didn't go to like an Ivy League school. She didn't even know how to do fundraising. Everything was so hard for her. She had money problem and all. But what basically kept her going is basically having that dream. When you have that passion, that dream, when you really want to make that dream work, you make it work regardless of your circumstance. So I don't think age should be a hindering factor. I think this is very important, having that mindset. If your mindset is strong, that you tell your mindset, like, I want to be an entrepreneur, you can. But you have to know that it takes hard work. So if your mindset is always positive, you can become anything. Yeah, no matter how old you are. Yeah.
And do you also, I would say, do you also agree that once you get married, you can't actually run a startup as good as, when you do not have much commitment, I would say. Yeah.
No.
Why?
Because women, we're built differently. Women is actually really strong. Like, look at our mothers. They can still do housework. They can still cook. They can still give birth to us, and they can still work. So I would say, no, it's just time management. Yeah, it's just time management.
I think also a lot of times the husband itself have to be supportive, the wife, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if the wife want to say, hey, I want to start this thing.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a good idea? If the husband say, nah, no, you should stay at home, I think, it will be quite tough as well.
No. if the husband actually supports the wife to run a business, it's perfect. I think it's the best. If let's say the husband is not supportive, then
how?
Then it's gonna definitely affect the business for sure. Because then why do you even want to get married? Why do you choose to marry that kind of husband? And like my question to the woman is,
at the first place, right?
Yeah. So I think it should not define love. So far, the female founder friends that I have, all of their husbands have been super supportive. Yeah.
Can you give like 3 reasons why the men out there should support their wife if the wife wants to start a business? Oh, just one.
Just one.
But you can.
Well, guys, think about it this way. For the longest time, in this patriarchy world, patriarchy society, men has always been, men is designed to lead, to always be the first to serve the family, to take care of everything. But when you have when a wife who wants to start a business, she's actually giving you some time to relax, to chill. So it's a win-win situation. And it's okay to just chill and let your wife also, run the show. Yeah, so I think it's a good situation where both of them can benefit from each other. Yeah.
So you have more than decades, right, in your branding and marketing. So that is your main career.
It's been 10 years.
Plus, I guess, no? Yeah.
Wow.
Decades. Yeah.
I'm old.
So the first question is regarding like marketing and branding side, right? I mean, based on your experience in this industry, do you think that branding is much more important than the product itself in today's markets? Means that the product itself, you don't need to be like super great. As long as you have a great branding, People
Yes.
think that, wow, this product is damn good, that they will buy.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes to the answer. Branding it's important.
But for those like first time startup founders, right, or that do not have a lot of money to do branding, what sort of easiest branding tips that you can share to them so they can, have a nice branding like more with a very minimal, because I'm pretty sure that not all founders they have that kind of knowledge and skill, right? Yeah.
First, guys, like it's time to break out from that mindset. The myth of like branding will cost a lot of money.
Mhm.
To be honest, when Mo started out, I couldn't even afford to hire a brand designer.
Mhm.
Everything was designed by me and also like my ex co-founder. So I think how to build a brand, it's so easy. Like you don't need a lot of money. You can actually start like 10 ringgit or 25 ringgit to subscribe to Canva Pro plan. And that's good enough for you to start. And secondly, be genuine, be authentic, because you are your brand and your brand is you. And at the end of the day, that's what communicates to people, and that's really effective. So I think very important, it's list down the kind of like your persona and what do you want to give impact out of your brand. What's that vision that your brand wants to give? And show that vision, talk about that vision. You can just post a simple video on TikTok. You don't really need those cool effect video content. And I think slowly from there, essentially you are building the brand, and branding takes time. You have to understand that it's not a marketing promotion. It's nothing tactical. So start now. Start thinking about what's the kind of impact that you want to give. You want to help. How are you solving a painful problem with you as a person, what you truly believe in, and why you created that product because of your belief. And keep on talking about that in your content. Yeah.
Do you believe that achieving viralities is the main goal of posting on social media?
No, I don't. Nice to have.
Then what is your main goal, or what sort of metrics that you track?
For me, it would still be sales. Sales and also user signups. Right? If I'm getting low user signups, that means somewhere in my content, the funnel, there is a problem. So I need to revisit with my community manager and to really relook back at all of the contents that we've been producing, we've been putting out there, and then and then we come up with another content.
How do you make sure that the content that you posted are able to attract the right audience to more?
Oh, it's really simple. So we have a format. The format is basically we start with stating out who's our target audience, right? And then we use this tool. I use this tool called SEM Rush. So SEM Rush, you basically get to generate like all of your hot keywords, relevant keywords that your target audience will be using. So I would then use all these hot keywords and plan my content utilizing these hot keywords. So, for example, if I make a TikTok video, so my kind of style on TikTok is about me opening up my journey, because I just want to share with people that mold is not just a product, but we are also here. We are human beings, right? We're here because we're passionate to solve this problem. We want to make, like networking a productive space, networking a safer space for people who are introverted like me, like you guys. And also not forgetting the extroverts, because extroverts also, when they talk a lot, they have a lot of energy that's just being drained. So we also want to help them. And how do we help them? Is we help them to automate the follow-ups, right? So I think when we make a video, we always think about how we can help. So, for example, like we do a video or how you can save time, meaning how you can stay productive while you get to continue to talk so long, like at this networking event. Yeah, so the content is always goes about like how you can do this, how you can save time, how you can save costs, right? And then you put in like your hot keywords there. So basically, that is really like you're not just educating them, but you're also showing like how
you can solve the problem.
My product can actually solve your problem.
Yeah. For new startup, right? Because for a new startup, it's all about innovations, right? So you are doing something that the markets might not know that they need your product, right? So what are some of the go-to-market strategies that you would suggest to all of this, maybe like first-time founders? How are they going to able to get to push the products to the market as fast as possible?
If you're in a software company, first one I would say product hunt, publish it there, super effective. Number 2 is LinkedIn. Keep on being annoying on LinkedIn. Start following so many people. Start posting every single week. 2 postings, it's a good spot. It's good to start with two postings per week. Third one is TikTok. TikTok works. And the fourth one is partnerships. Yeah, it doesn't cost a lot. Because when you're a new brand, when you're new, right, and you're still trying to validate your product in the market, you need someone who's credible to come together with you and that will move the needle for your business. So what works for Mole is event partnerships. When we've been running our networking events, we are partnered with all these corporate companies, and we realized like they actually enable us to have that brand mileage. It gives us that brand credibility, and then later on, we get to see that these people, the corporate partners, they became our word of mouth and referral, and that makes it more stronger compared to like running ads on Facebook where you spend like for SaaS cost per acquisition for one cost per acquisition, it's about 45 ringgit to 100 ringgit. It really depends how much budget that you have. But together, it's like a 3-month consistent 10,000 ringgit at budget like journey, right? I don't have that amount to burn. So what really works well for us is really like partnerships and all of that I mentioned before. Yeah.
So this question will more about like as a introverts, right? So how a introverts person, for example, today I am an introvert and I want to start a business, right? So, but I'm shy on camera, I'm shy on standing in front of people and then pitch to them. So how do you actually overcome this kind of challenges? Yeah, because if you don't pitch, how are you going to get the fund? If you don't be on camera, then how are you going to create content that able to build your IP? Yeah. So how as an introvert? Yeah.
I still struggle with that a lot. I think I've done like, I don't know how many pitches. I've done so many pitches. Even like being on stage, I think I think about more than 10 times already, but I still like have fidgety fingers. I will scratch myself. I will stammer. My speech will not be clear. But I realize what really helps is just one word. Just pray and believe. And then the rest is like, and you can get through it. Yeah.
So like another thing I want to ask about your marketing. What's the most unexpected lesson that you have learned from a field marketing campaigns?
Oh, field marketing campaign.
Yeah.
Let's see, field marketing. How do you define fail?
Like if you have spent like 10,000 but you didn't get any leads at all.
Yes, we did. During my bootstrapping days, we actually spent like 2,000 ringgit for 1 week to run a Christmas ad, but that only generated us about 4 card sales.
2,000.
Yeah, that was so expensive.
What's wrong with that though? I mean, do you guys like review back?
Well, we still don't know, to be honest. But there are just assumptions, right, that we can make. It could be because like during that 1 week before Christmas, there were too many Christmas promotion ads were running at the same time, so everyone was competing.
The ads will be expensive as well, right? During
Yeah,
seasons.
Yeah, and also maybe because like at the time, our product was too sophisticated. Yeah.
Too geng,
Too geng. Like nobody understands what we're trying to do. But it's so cute. Like I remember I designed like cute little like Christmas like ornaments. But I guess it was too artsy fartsy for them to understand what it is. And but yeah, that was super fail. Like but one thing we learned is that okay, we need to continue to further educate the market. Like the market is not ready for this, so we need to start making, instead of like static images, we move towards videos instead. So we get to show like how the software looks like, how it works. So it really focuses closely onto like the software rather than just a card and pretty snow details and cute snowman. Yeah, it didn't work. 2,000 ringgit burn. Oh, so painful.
Expensive.
Yeah.
So you have gone through a lot of things during this journey, right? And one of the things that you have your co-founder, right? Then your co-founder left, then you find another co-founders, right? So what is the toughest challenge that you face when looking for a co-founder that have the same visions, for more?
It's hard. It's basically like dating, right? And for me, I am very selective. I'm not picky. I'm just very selective because for me, what's really important is the energy, the vibration, the aura. And I've met so many full stack engineers, and even like I've spoken to CTOs as well, trying to get them to become my co-founder. But it was just not a match. It was not a vibe. So it was a 6 months of like really like tough time for me because I have to play that hat as a interim CTO, trying to figure things out, trying to speak like a technical CTO, but I couldn't. I was struggling. But we still got to move and drop an MVP still. Great. Praise Lord. But I think when I wasn't looking, because I was so busy like on the MVP production, and that's how my co-founder just appeared magically in front of me like a unicorn. And he's here. And he's here, and I can't wait to introduce you to him.
Right.
Yes.
So, bro, short time. All right. So we have, what's your name, bro? Haziq. So, a very chill first question is like, so what's your first impressions about Melly when she first approached you about whatever projects? More. Okay.
Melly, my first impression about Melly. I think she's very outspoken, very I want to say quirky a bit, but she's passionate about what she's doing. She really knows where she wants to go. She really knows what she wants. And I feel that okay, like hey, this person has everything like sort of like figured out. In terms of where she wants to go. Yeah, that's definitely my first
Do you
impression.
believe in her vision? That's why you join her, or you already know that this business is something that will go right in the first place?
Good question. I mean, there's a little bit of both, I would say. Um, I know that like this kind of business, I mean, if you're talking about just the digital business card business, right? That's technically uh, a bunch of too common, right? There's a lot of people doing it already. But then Melly's approach is talking about a bit more on a bit more on the human side about the networking. It's not just the business card. It's about what the business card represents, and it's about connecting two people essentially, right? And that really resonates well with me because personally, um, on my side, it's also a difficult thing for me to naturally connect with people because I mean, some people when you click, right?
Yes.
But then there's a bigger number of people that you wouldn't click initially. So that the idea of having a platform that helps you do that, just that really intrigues me lah. And then like the passion that Melly has for this kind of space, this kind of pain, really sort of sells it to me in a way. Yeah.
So Mel, so you said that kind of thing because you want to get him in, or you really believe in your information? CEO ma, CEO. You know.
I do believe in my innovation for sure. I guess essentially what I really want to do, this is just like that far-fetching future. I really want to create a networking app that combines like a hate space. So it's like like networking should be also very mindful.
And by the way, if you guys check out Melly's LinkedIn, she's super duper active in events and also networking. So she's not someone that just talk and then, yeah. Okay. So just wondering, like, how many years of industry experience do you have in, this IT thing or apps building things?
Probably close to around 17 to 20 years.
Shit.
Yep.
And how are you, bro, by the way? Yeah.
I was 34 this year.
Well, so it's like after school,
I mean, I was sort of like doing a little bit of coding / hacking during school. Yeah.
So it's
Just
in your blood.
I wouldn't say in my blood, but then I'm just generally ridiculously curious, especially with PCs. The time where I grew up, I'm gonna sound old, but then when the time I grew up, PC is still sort of new, right? So I was generally curious of how it works, and it started with me tearing things apart and couldn't put it back, and then learning how to do that, and then going to coding and
I think
stuff.
this was like Windows 3.16, is it? Like ages ago.
Yeah, years ago.
Yeah. So I mean, you have spoken to so many like CTO, right? Talks about clicking with each other, those kind of things. I think it needs time, to build things and to see really. I mean, just like dating, right? You can't get the answer within even like 3 to 6 months, right? You have to work things together. Only you will know, right? So how long have you guys been working together already in Mo? I mean, with Mo?
Gosh, it feels like forever.
A couple of months.
No, because like we've been working really, really hard. To be honest, I only had like 4 hours of sleep yesterday because we are both working on to launch our super cool feature next week. Hopefully everything goes well.
Yep.
Yeah, we believe that's a game changer. So he came on board actually 2 months ago.
Yeah.
2 months ago, but
Honeymoon.
no, it's not honeymoon. It's like
but Melly's been wearing me down for months.
no, that's not true. No, it's just that like so we have been working from the Mamaks to another mama. And then to offices and offices. It's been a month plus lah. But it didn't feel like it because every day I see his face, even right now.
So how do you feel so far? How do you feel like working with Melly so far? You just pretend you didn't.
I mean, sometimes it's challenging because I know where Melly wants to go. When every time she asks something about a feature, right? I sort of know where she wants to go. It's just that trying to connect back to what we have now and just linking it, right? So sometimes it's a bit, yeah, she can be quite challenging to work with. I mean, but she's very chill. She's very chill. I mean, yeah, it's been great because personally, I feel really energized. I'm always like on a full bar of energy every time you talk about more and what we want to do, where we want to go. I mean, we go to the mama to just talk until like 3-4 a.m. Just planning things out. Okay, what we should do. What's next feature? Is this really right for us right now? What's the priority? Blah blah. So far, it's been great lah.
We talks about like those features and priorities, right? There are a lot of founders that I've seen when they just start up their business, right? They want to have a full flash feature. They want to ABC until Z, right? Yeah. So what sort of advice that you will give it to founders? Because I mean, in the whole ecosystem of founders building the apps, and the most money making person is the UI UX because the founders keep changing and then keep paying the UI UX money. Yeah. So what sort of I would say advice like you have seen so many things, you have built so many apps, and businesses, right? So what sort of advice that you would give it to this sort of first time founders? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's good to know that Melly is really particular with the UI and how things should look and feel. And in a way, I do understand that because personally, I wouldn't use something that's clunky or is hard to maneuver, right? But one advice would be we need to stick to our core. What is the pain that we want to address? Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of features, right, that you want to build. And as a founder, you kept getting ideas. Hey, this is a good idea. And granted, probably all of it is great. But then what is the actual pain that we want to address first? What's our core problem statement, right? And solving that problem statement with a single feature or two features at the very beginning, that what makes people want to use it, and eventually what makes people want to pay for it, right? So that's, I would say, the most important thing, finding what pain that you're trying to solve and just tackle it first.
So Mel, just wondering, like, if today's you guys are arguing over some things, right? So how are you guys going to mitigate? Is it not mitigates? How to calm things down? Like, okay, so this is just for business. Okay, so after this, we are going to work on, so this particular, not argument, discussion is only for this particular issues. So we are not like, not like I do not like you. It's just that particular business that we are talking about, So how do you guys actually separate between like the personal and the business side when it comes to, I would say, argument, discussions? Because I think a lot of founders, when we talk, sometimes we get a little bit, on the high kind of things, but it's just the business itself. It's not like I do not like you. You get what I mean? So how do you guys actually separate that? That after that discussion, we are still good to go to work on that project. Yeah.
Well, ever since when he came in, and it's been such a game changer in terms of how I work with my engineers and also with my product manager. So for the longest time, I felt like I was always constantly like being super overwhelmed, super stressed out because I couldn't even understand. Or like the biggest question for me is like, how come no one understands me? Right? I think that's so hard. Like, am I not speaking English? Right? Like, couldn't be, right? Then I thought like, okay, maybe I should change the way my style of writing so that I can be more, I can basically get my message across to my product team, right? But then, and I'm always alone. But ever since when Haziq came into the picture, it doesn't feel lonely anymore. So that really helps me to just take off all that weight on my shoulder, knowing that right now, the path that I'm walking on, it's not so blurry anymore. The vision there is no longer a mist, but like the mist is like there is a rainbow is starting to appear. It's still raining because it's still hard, the journey. There is a rainbow now, which is great. And Haziq adds that rainbow into that path, right? Which is great. But because knowing me, I'm a perfectionist. And being a perfectionist, sometimes it slows down. It delays the timeline for production features and all. And also I get really kanchong. How do you say that in English? Kanchong.
No, yes.
Very not nervous, like hyperventilating. Like hyperventilating, is it right? I get very
Anxiety.
and yeah, I get very anxious.
Anxiety,
Yeah, I get super anxious every time when we're nearing towards a launch, right? And now I have Haziq here. This guy is like Master Yoda. I don't know what kind of Tai Chi he does, but there's something very calming, a very deep sense of calming energy from him. And it's like, I don't have to tell him that I'm upset about something or I'm not happy with something. He just knows. And he has a way and he doesn't need to say anything. And sometimes that's enough. That's something that you cannot explain. And that's why, like previously I told you, right? Like I met so many like CTOs, I talked to them, I talked to different engineers. Yeah, they're great and all, they're smart, right? And some of them I even have a really great smile. But sometimes a great smile doesn't calm me down. Right? But I was looking for that energy that can balance with mine. Because mine is like a very high and anxious smile. So I'm always very, very, very like bouncy. His energy is perfect. So kind of like that yin yang thing, right? Like it just goes, it flows really well. So, this one I cannot explain. This one needs I think it's a spiritual thing. I don't know how to describe this, but, working with him has been really, really great because he's not just like very organized, but he also, sets the feature priority based on not the vision product, but most importantly, going back to the pain point again, does it solve the most painful part for like event organizers and business professionals? So that is what I didn't have because I wouldn't be able to understand like, feature technical questions or technical language, right? But he knows that. So that's why the path now it's less misty. Yeah. And we work well together. Yeah, super blessed.
Me?
He said she think that she work well with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I work well with Melly as well. Because for me, I really like building things, right? And I really like to solve problems because by nature I'm curious. So when Melly comes with probably Melly really understands the pain that at the moment we look at event organizers, right? The pain that they're going through, what they're facing on a day-to-day basis, on a weekly basis. And for me, I like to just try to understand what's that like and what technology can potentially solve it. And Melly, every time like I say, okay, hey, why don't we use something like this? Feature A, feature B. And Melly knows immediately, oh, feature A wouldn't work well, you know? Probably it works. It's not that it's not working, but that it won't solve. Yeah. So that kind of back and forth, that two-way kind of communication is really great when working with Melly lah. Because sometimes as engineers, right, we know how to just, okay, I can build this, I can build that. But sometimes we also need to know, does it actually solve anyone? It does solve a problem, but does it solve the problem that we want to tackle, right? Our users, right? And Melly can give me that kind of feedback. Okay, hey, this won't solve, it solves a different problem. It doesn't solve this problem, blah, blah, blah. So Melly is really great to understand what the user wants or user needs, right? And conveying it back to me and having that kind of back and forth has been like a great, I would say, working relationship so far lah.
So, a great CTO like yourself, right, is a very rare species, right?
I would.
And yeah, so do you think that every single startup, when they're first starting up their business, they must have a great CTO to run the show first? If they don't have a CTO, means that they cannot even start the business. Is it like a must?
Okay. First of all, I don't consider myself as a great CTO lah. I mean, like, I've been doing this for quite some time, so I sort of like know workarounds and the all the nooks and crannies of being a CTO, right? But it's not a must. I mean, but if your company is a tech company, you consider yourself as a tech company, it's either you yourself needs to be a bit understanding of tech, or if not, you need to have a CTO that understands tech. And being a CTO is not just the tech part. A lot of the times, founders often forget that the C, right, in C level stands for company. So a CTO doesn't just look at the technology part. What kind of framework that we use, what kind of servers that we use, where do we host it? It's not just that. It's about what does it brings to the company. So you need to know a little bit about finance, a little bit about administration, management, to know whether or not the technology that you want to build or use would benefit that as a whole. So that's why I think a lot of startups forget that it's not just cool to be a CTO, right? I mean, like, I started that way. I know tech, so of course, generally I can be a CTO, right? That's usually the train of thought when I first started years ago. But then realizing that no, I need to know other stuff, because just me understanding the technology doesn't help. Like my founder might or might not know tech, but then she is running like a different thing altogether. There's marketing, there's administration, there's sales, blah blah, and just me knowing tech doesn't help her in any way, right? So I need to understand her my shoes so that I can build a better tech, a bit more. I wouldn't say better, but probably the correct word is optimized to where we want to go.
So what is the next plan of Mo? What's the coming up exciting news that you guys have for us?
Okay, so Haziq and I are working on this really cool feature. We're super excited for this because so far we've never seen any like digital card players have done this. Not even like the Angmo countries. Yeah, so essentially, in the weeks to come, we will be launching this beta feature where everybody can save contacts easily. And it's not a one-way contact sharing. It's going to be two ways sharing and save. Yeah, it just in less than 2-3 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah. It can be a card. If you don't have an NFC card, no problemo, because NFC card, we are also working to give that out for free because we want to get everybody to go onto the digital card. So essentially the digital card is free. You can sign up on mole.is. We don't really need to pay, but let's say if you want to have more features, then you can subscribe to us. I will give a promo code right above Wing Han's head here. Yes. So, for event organizers, we are also dropping a really cool tool. This tool is going to be on a subscription basis. We want to basically level the playing field for most event software companies out there because we totally understand that the global event software companies, when they charge to Southeast Asia players, the price is exorbitant. And we are like Malaysians here. This is our vision. Haziq and I always believe that as what we call as like kaki lang, right? Kaki lang, Keranamu Malaysia, right? We love Malaysia. We just love this country and we just want to really like create something that Southeast Asians can also enjoy without breaking their pocket. And most importantly, like they get to be successful through tech and 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Like just stay tuned.
Cool. So for those that want to learn more about Mo, I will drop the website link on the comment box below. And for you guys that want to connect with Melly, I will drop her LinkedIn link as well. And then if you want to have a great CTO, I'll drop his LinkedIn on the comment box below as well. I mean, let's get connected and let's build something great. Yeah. So anything else that you guys want to shout it out here? Anything else?
Let's make networking great.
Okay. I'm Wing Hon.
I'm Melly.
I'm Haziq.
And
We're Introverts.
Signing off. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Card. And I'm tapping it on an Android phone. And it opens. And ta-da! That's me. And you can just slide through and add like all of your content. This is a product catalog. You can easily add your features, your links at the bottom here. And then you get to also build your blog. Ta-da! Super simple. And you have a simple form, a lead form where you can just share it with your customers or anyone who wants to learn more about you, who wants to get in touch with you. You get to add in your events and put in like all of your event calendar. Here we have Google Calendar, Apple, and Outlook. Super simple, super easy. And you get to add to contacts, to save into your phone. And yeah, that's pretty much it.